Hello and welcome to day 50 in this quest for a 2000 rating on chess.com. A rapid chess rating, I should clarify. So I started at around a 1525 rating. So we're up to what, 1607 now. So I don't know, it seems like I've tapered off or leveled out a little bit once I got to around 1600. So our next goal, will be 1625, see if we can get there, and then 1650. But I think the highest I've reached so far is around 1616. Somewhere around there. I'm not sure exactly. So we'll try for 1625, see if we can reach that target, and then shoot for 1650 and see where we can go. But I'm still trying to get these openings down. So let's begin here and find an opponent. And I want to thank you for watching and following and supporting the channel to allow me to be able to play 50 games on here with enough people that have interest to follow along. All right, so e4, e5, knight to f3, and let's see how they respond. All right, the Petrov, so we'll capture. All right, so now, do we go ahead and double his pawns there? That is the question. Or do we just retreat? Or do we just push forward here? Well, let's see. Interesting little change up here in this Petrov's defense. Normally they just chase you back with d6 and then I retreat. So now if I capture here, it'll leave him with doubled pawns, but I have to watch out that it'll open his bishop up. He'll have, I don't know, we don't have time to think about it too long. I wasted a minute just on that one move, so that's one of my issues, is time trouble. So let's go ahead and just capture that, double his pawns. At least we get that advantage. And then let's see what we should do next. We could try and chase his knight here. So that's one possibility. Chase his knight. Well, at least he's thinking now, so maybe people don't normally capture. This is another one I'm going to have to check out and see if it's even in the opening repertoire book that I have. So, here's his options. Capture with the e-pawn, which is probably the recommended move, because then it keeps one pawn island here. If he captures towards the center, which usually you want to capture towards the center with your pawns. I mean, I guess that's another option too, because then he could develop this bishop maybe along this diagonal aimed at my king side. So, I guess he's really thinking about it here. All right. Well, let's see. At least this way I'll be able to hold on to my pawn as well. So, I guess I'll remain a pawn ahead. So I don't know. Maybe he's thinking about that, because now I snatch up this knight. he has to recapture, and then I can just fortify this pawn. Okay, so now the question is how to fortify this pawn. Do I block my bishop in? Which I may do that. I may just play with this move here. Just fortify the pawn. If I push forward, I don't know. That's a good option too, maybe, but that's a little bit risky since I don't have any pieces developed. So we'll just go ahead and protect the pawn, keep the material, and see what he decides to do next. We could try and pin this knight next, so that's a possibility. But I don't know. I don't want to give up the bishop pair. So probably need to develop this knight. But now I'm not sure if I want to go knight to c3, where his bishop could just pin it to my king. Or do I run the knight to d2 and then f3, but that takes longer to do that. So maybe I need to just develop bishop to e2. So, that's possible. Bishop to e2, get ready to castle. Now, I have to watch out because bishop to d6 here, he could play that, and then he'll have two bishops aimed down at my king side here. So that may not be the greatest option either. So, all right. So he goes right ahead there, developing his bishop that way. Threatening maybe to bring his queen down here and try and mate, but, or bring his knight this way. So now, if I go here and challenge his bishop, he could just move the bishop here, or just take me, and then I'll have doubled pawns here. So if I go there, he captures, and I double my pawns in the center, would that be so bad? I don't know. That could leave some weaknesses over here. So all right. Do I pin this knight here? He could just attack me. And then if I capture, his queen captures, he's threatening a mate in one here. All right, so maybe I develop my bishop. So maybe that is best. Develop the bishop. All right, so we'll just go ahead and do that. We'll just develop that bishop. Keep his knight out of there. Oh, he might have been threatening a little trap here too, because if my bishop remained here and he captures this f pawn, pulling my king away, then if he sacrifices his knight. Anyway, knight sacrifice if I capture. But first, if he checked me here, and I capture, and then he attacks. I don't know. That's a little tactic to watch out for, because then if I captured the knight, he would capture my queen. If this bishop captured on f2 here and pulls me over away from the defense of my queen, and the rook wouldn't be covering if that bishop was still on f1. So definitely got to watch out for that. All right. So if he goes ahead and castles on, oh no, he immediately attacks here. All right. Well, that is pretty interesting. I mean, I guess we could just play up here and stop his knight from jumping forward. Or maybe it would have been better to develop the bishop. Okay. Why did he do that? All right. All right. Do I just castle? Do I just castle? All right, so now, as I was saying, the bishop pair aiming at my king side. So if I castle, he could pick this off. If I castle, he could pick off this h3 pawn. If I capture, his queen captures, the rook is ready. Well, I guess the rook can't really swoop in here immediately. But, well, let's see. Should I castle here? Will that work? Will castling work? That is the question. Okay. Kind of dangerous. Kind of dangerous here. And I'm spending a lot of time just burning my time away. All right. Do we just attack the queen? And then he's going to pick this off, this central pawn. Or no, if I attack the queen, well, he can't go after this, but he could go here. And I don't know, that doesn't look good. So maybe I should just castle and just try and defend with my extra piece. But he's going to start picking off pawns. So castle, the bishop attacks. If I attack, he'll start checking me back and forth. He could just check back and forth there. Well, no, can he really do that? Because this bishop is really got an eye on things. All right, I'll let him go on with his attack here. Just let him go on with his attack. All right. So now I need to be able to attack his queen. So let's try that. Attacking his queen. All right. All right. How do I continue? I guess I could attack again. Oh, he's going to get that bishop in there. I don't want to allow that. Okay, so we need to develop. We need to develop. All right, let's try that. Need to play defense here. Now, this is going to get tricky. Tricky indeed. One thing about these E4, E5 openings, especially if they get crazy like this in the tactics, I need to develop pieces here and try and trade. If I could trade the queens off, that would lessen his attack. So what does he do? Okay, attacks my queen. So do I go after his queen? Probably need to try something like this to help defend. Problem is this pawn, his pawns can start pushing in on my position. I definitely need to get this knight developed as well to try and, I don't know, this is just, my king is just really open here, which is not good. So I need to jump my knight up, fight for the center here. All right, I mean, at this point, I'm +4 ahead, so they're really thinking about what to do. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. right, do I pick this off? We'll do that. We'll go after his rook there. And then at least this way we will control that. All right, so now his king is kind of stuck in the middle. What should we try next? Do we just attack his queen? Attack the queen. Now we need to keep this bishop for defense. So keep that bishop for defense. But where is best? Move it down here to h2, or should we attack his queen immediately and then he'll pick that off? So anyway, we'll go there for defense. Oh, we got to watch out for if he picks off this pawn, you know, and we try and capture, well, at least we're covering the back rank with the bishop and the queen here. So we need to just develop our knight. Develop our knight. You know, probably just move here and attack his queen. If we attack his queen. All right, but we need to get this knight developed. So this is a crazy game. We're ahead by +5 in material, but our king is kind of open. At least his king is in the center. And we have the bishop pair. All right, so we need to get our knight developed up here. Try and get this knight involved in the game. All right, so that is not looking too good. Not too good. Okay. He could attack our queen or this. Attack our queen. Or, you know, rook over here attacks our queen. So we need to run here. All right. Well, let's just develop the knight. See what he decides to do next. All right, he attacks our queen. Oh crap, did he just trap our queen? Well, we do have an option of going up here like this, going after his king a little bit. All right. Well, now we can just attack his queen and probably should move out of this open position here. All right. Well, do we check? Do we go ahead and check him? If we check, then the king moves down. Or we could check this way. All right. Oh man, this is tricky. Okay. So if we check, the king moves up. Possibly. There could be an attack here. He could just move here and threaten a mate and one right here. How do we stop that? All right. Well, do we push forward here? Or do we just attack his piece? Oh, and he could go here and threaten a mate as well. Okay. Well, let's just go there. We'll just get our king out of that line. Oof. All right. Now, why would he do that? Well, I guess that causes some problems. If we check the king with our queen, all right. Oh man, it's such a crazy game. If we check there, all right, what should we try here? Do we just attack his queen? Attack his queen. And then that queen has nowhere to go. So we'll just do that. I think his queen is trapped. But man, I only have 2 minutes left on the clock. But at least now his queen is trapped. His queen is trapped. We're threatening his rook, with a check. So what can his queen do? Capture. Capture my bishop or the knight or my other bishop or the rook. I mean, I guess the rook capture would be best. Rook capture. But he's running out of material. Man, yeah, this is one of the crazier games that I've played. So I don't know. I mean, I guess because I'm 1607 and he's 1734, maybe he thought, well, I'll just do a wild attacking, crazy attack and overwhelm my opponent. But, which, I don't know, this was tough. Like, I have to play a lot of defense in this game. So let's see how he continues to make it the most complicated. So his queen is the queen trapped. The queen can't go along the diagonal. He'll be captured. If he goes here, this bishop will capture him. Okay. Well, this looks like an even trade. We go after that, but then we'll be able to pick off his other pieces. So we'll just take his queen. He can take ours. So we'll just go ahead and do that and then pick off his other pieces. If he goes after our queen, we'll take that with check and then pick off his other bishop. And then, I don't know, he's pretty much done here. As long as we don't blunder. We don't want any crazy blunders. Okay, he just resigned. He just, one rook against, two rooks and two other pieces. He just ran out of material in his attack there. All right, well, we got this could be a new high. I don't know if I've made it past 1618 or, I think I had a 1616 rating on here. I don't know if I went much higher than that, if at all. So we made it to 1618, so that's good. One step closer to trying to reach 1625. That's the next target or goal, and then we'll try 1650 from there. So definitely have to take a look at this game because it was crazy. So the game review. All right, so we played at 85.6 versus their 71.1. Oh, we had a blunder. So we'll definitely have to see what our blunder was. They were actually winning. Well, close to winning here at some point. So we definitely need to see what that was all about. All right, let's take a look at this crazy Petrov where, normally you capture here and they chase you away with d6. But here he played a unusual, different variation of it. All right, so this capture was a blunder. So let's see what would have been best. Developing our queen here. All right. Developing the queen. All right, so definitely need to take a look at that. What else do we have here? Well, after this, we just have, I guess he didn't capitalize on what he could have with that one blunder move, so we definitely need to take a look at that. And is that it? I guess that's it. So it says you really outplayed your opponent in that one. You took advantage of what your opponent gave you in the opening, and you pounced on your opportunities in the middle game. So we played at 1950 versus their 1200. So, definitely have to take a look and see what they did, or what they could have done better. We played at, let's see, I reached a 94.2 opening accuracy versus their 77.6 and an 80.7 middle game versus their 34.9. Whew. Yeah, I guess they just gave up too much material trying to attack. So, sometimes you have to play defense and, or try and, not go too crazy on your attack, because then if it fizzles out, you're just behind in material. All right. Let's look at the analysis. So e4, e5, standard opening moves. Knight to f3 attacking, and knight to f6, the Petrov defense. So here, white has different options. Usually, and it shows this is the best option, is knight just captures on e5. But it looks like you could play d4 as well, and even knight to c3. But if you want some type of advantage in the opening, it looks like d4 or this knight capturing on e5 here. So now it recommends queen to e7 or d6. So, I thought my opponent would play d6, chase me away, and then we'd go into some long. Well, let's take a look at that. Here's what normally is played. That white retreats back, then black can capture this e-pawn, then you play d4, gaining space in the center. They play d5 to keep things equal and to protect the knight, and then you can develop bishop to d3, getting ready to castle. At this point, the computer recommends knight to c6. We castle, bishop to e7 so that they can get ready to castle. Rook to e1, adding the pressure on this knight with the bishop. And now recommends either bishop to g4, pinning our knight, or even castling immediately. But here, now it looks like capture, rook captures. You're just kind of ahead of pawn here. But, after bishop to f5, you chase the rook back to e1. And then you jump your knight in. So that's interesting. We'll take a look at that. If you go here, now it's even saying rook to e3. That it recommends rook to e3, which I don't know. That looks crazy. And then they can get this other pawn back. Yeah, this is kind of tricky. If my opponent would have played this, if we go all the way back to here, well, now he can pick this knight off and the material would be even again. It's recommending rook to e3, saying that was best. Also, you could have something like this, targeting this pawn. But now it just recommends rook to e2, guarding that. I mean, I guess you could even, well, you don't want to do that. If you play c3, they could capture your knight, and then when your rook captures, I mean, I guess they could, well, they can't go after that pawn. Anyway, that would have been some tricky stuff. Now they can just pile on right here, but you can play c3 and chase them away, and you're just kind of ahead of pawn. So anyway, that was like another option. I don't know if that was the best option, because after, let's see, d6, this, here, okay. When they attack this, you could play knight to c3 or knight at b to d2 here and attack this knight instead of castling. But even if you castle, like we looked at earlier in this variation, I don't know, maybe that is better, something like that. Then after rook to e1, you're kind of helping. Well, now you're putting pressure on this, but this bishop at f4 is helping protect. Although the knight could try and go after that bishop, I guess. So anyway, before I dive too deep into some crazy lines, knight to e5. My opponent plays that, and it says that is a miss. Like, it doesn't even like that move. So now the best thing to do is go ahead and capture. So, that's what we do. And now he thought for quite a while here whether to capture with the B pawn or the D pawn. Computer says that the D pawn capture is slightly better. So now, what is recommended here? Queen to E2. Looks like that is the best response here. Queen to E2. All right. Well, not necessarily, because now it's saying D3 or Queen to F3 are both fine as well. All right, so what did we play? D3, and now the computer says that that's best. So they should play bishop to C5 according to the computer, and that's what they did. Here, bishop to E2 is recommended, or queen to F3 once again. So we played bishop to F2. The computer liked that. We get ready to castle. But now, why is the computer recommending knight to G4 when it looks like you could just pick that off? Oh, okay, there's a little crazy tactic. So let's take a look at that real quick. If they go here and we capture, well, then we have queen to H4 check, threatening a mate here. So now it looks like just castling is best. But then, I don't know, you could threaten a mate here. Once again, you're under heavy pressure here. Castling, they go ahead and capture here, attacking the queen. The queen moves over. Black can go ahead and castle. But then you could even have this move here, threatening a mate and one on H2. And that's the second best move. But you might as well just go ahead and castle. And now, anyway, another crazy attacking line, that's possible in that. So, knight to C6, missing a chance. They should have just chased my knight away. So now we have capture, they capture, D3 to protect the pawn. Bishop is developed, targeting this spot here. So bishop to E2 is what I played, and the computer likes that. Now they push this, the H5 move. So I see why he did that, because then he could threaten to just jump another piece in here. All right. Well, looks like knight to G4. Once again, that would have been the better move. But they play that. And now the game jumps in white's favor. Like, plus 2.26 here. Let's see. Looks like C3 is the most recommended move. And I didn't even consider that in the game. But, yeah, C3. And then get ready to push this pawn and block that bishop out. But then I guess the bishop could run up here. So what did I play in the game? H3. And that was not... H3 is an inaccuracy. It does not like that move. All right. H3. Okay, well, we'll take a look here. I'm going to take a look and see why. Well, before I do that, let's see what we should have played. So C3. Although, I don't know, now it's saying H3 is the second best move. So let's take a look at C3. So that, the computer says, is best. And that they should retreat back to B6. So bishop retreats back, and now Recommends a4, threatening to trap that bishop. And the best response looks to be a5. And now bishop to g5, pinning that knight to the queen. And it looks like queen to what? e7 here, which is pretty interesting. But now it's saying queen to d6, so the computer's undecided, it seems. What? That move's not even on there. Queen to d6. Yeah, but now it's saying that's best. All right. Then knight to d2. Let's see. Knight to d2, just developing another piece, threatening to jump up here and fork the bishop and the queen. And recommended is to ignore that, pile up on this f pawn, but now d4 can be played, blocking out that bishop. So then we have queen to g6, attacking our unprotected bishop, but h4 here, protecting it. But now f6 could be played, but an even better move is just to develop here, just developing another piece. And now f3, chasing this knight out of the position. Oh, but now the computer is saying that it would have been better to just go ahead and castle here. Computer likes that move the best. All right. So here we would have f6, chasing our bishop out of there. Recommended is bishop to f4, it appears. And now castle queenside. Okay, back to the game. h3 was played. And I thought, well, I want to keep pieces out of g4 here. And now the recommended move is knight to h7. Just retreating back. And I guess you'd even be giving up this pawn here. So, I don't know. I guess we could take a look at that. But also queen to d4, threatening a mate. And then it recommends you just castle to take care of that threat. But what is this knight to h7 move the computer found? Computer finds some crazy stuff. So c3 or knight to d2 would be better to play after this. I guess you would not want to go ahead and capture that pawn. So c3, you keep the queen out of there. And now it's saying knight to d2 would have been better. All right. But h3 was played in the game, and we saw that it would have been better to just play c3 here. So now knight captures, and this is a mistake. Just giving up this knight here. A mistake. So maybe he thought about that tactic where he attacks the pawn, pulling my king away, and then the queen, well, the queen's covered by the bishop, but would also be covered by the rook. So I don't know what my opponent was thinking. I guess he was trying to open the position up and hope that I crumbled under the attack, which, I don't know, it could have happened because it was a pretty fierce attack for a little while. So knight takes e4. And it doesn't recommend that. It says that knight h7, which looks kind of crazy, but queen to d4, threatening a mate in 1. But after this, of course you want to capture that knight. Now you're ahead. What is it? +3 in material. All right. So here, the best move is queen to h4, which was played, threatening this mate in 1. And a mate in 1 on f2. Oh, actually, it's not a mate in 1. Excuse me. Because the king could escape here to d2. But, man, then you'd be stuck in the open on an open file, just inviting all kinds of trouble. So it looks like I could have played g3 and attacked his queen. But then he would have just picked off this e4 pawn, and then my rook would be under attack. So castling is the best move to go ahead and keep the advantage, and it looks like that's what I did here. And now best is bishop takes h3, which is what they did. And now here I should have played queen to d3, and I did not think about that move. That would protect this pawn, and attack the bishop here. So queen to d3 would have been a better move. But we play a blunder here. So let's see why this is a blunder. But before we do, let's take a look at the queen to d3 move. Even queen to e1 would be okay, it looks like. Oh, because if we played queen to e1 and they picked off this unprotected pawn, well, then we could just move our bishop up here and pin his queen to the king. And then we'd have a queen trade and his attack would really dissipate after that. But queen to d3 is the recommended move. The computer says that is best. And then here, bishop to g4 should be played. And you don't want to capture this bishop here and open this h file up, threatening a mate on the h file. So, definitely don't want to do that. See, knight to d2, it looks like that is the best move. And then we have bishop captures. Although now it's saying queen to e7 would have been better. But no matter what, white would just hold his advantage here. Now it's even recommending queen to g4. And at this point, I would probably just go ahead and trade material, since we're ahead. But even better, the computer says, is attacking the unprotected bishop. The bishop retreats. Knight to f3. f6. I'm not sure why you wouldn't castle queenside here. Oh, I guess because then I could pick off that f-pawn. So now that's why the f-pawn is moved forward. And then here we threaten to trap the bishop. So a5 is played, which we saw this kind of setup earlier in another line. All right, back to my blunder. I capture here. And it looks like, now in the game, my opponent just recaptures this pawn, and that was a miss. So a big miss here that jumps the game to almost +5 in white's favor. So the move that had to be found for black to hold the advantage is to attack my queen, which is a move that I was thinking. I remember during the game thinking that this move was going to happen, where he would attack my queen. And I was wondering, well, do I just block with the bishop? What should I try and do here? So, crazy enough, it's saying the best move is to capture the rook and give up your queen, which seems nuts. I mean, let's take a look at this. Bishop to e3, or that's d3, excuse me. Bishop to d3 allows, queen to g3 check, king to h1, capture, king to g1, and then a threatening a checkmate here. So that would have been a disaster. Looks like bishop, yeah, oh my gosh. So I guess they missed that. What else is possible here? If they played, sorry, I went the wrong way with that. If they played rook to d8, is that what we looked at? Excuse me, I'm got to double check. We looked at, rook to d8. So that's what should have been played. And then our best option is to capture here. Man. Oh, and it looks like this is the Petrov's Defense Classical Stafford Gambit. And I've seen a few videos where they talk about the Stafford Gambit online, but I didn't even realize I was playing into this Stafford Gambit because I don't play that, or I hardly ever see it. I don't think I've come across it really. So I don't know. I'll have to take a look at a few more videos of this Stafford Gambit. Let me look here. I'm going to jump back to the beginning and look at the beginning moves of this Stafford Gambit variation. So if you capture, and then they go there, so I guess that is the Stafford Gambit, and you capture, and they recapture. Now it looks like d3 is best, and here they should play bishop to c5, which is what they play, piling up the pressure here. And now what did we play? Bishop to e2, and they played that. They should have brought their knight in. So let's see, it looks like knight to g4 immediately is the best move. So I think we took a look at that. Knight to g4, then we should capture, queen goes here, threatening the mate, castling is best, they capture, attacking our queen, and queen to e1 looks to be the best move. Castle. And I'll go a little bit deeper in this since it's a famous gambit here, this Stafford Gambit. So now this move appears to be best. Just attacking the bishop. The bishop goes here, threatening a mate in 1. But now we're able to just play f4, blocking that attack and attacking the queen at the same time. So here it looks like the best option is to trade the queens off. Okay, so anyway, that was an interesting line in the Stafford Gambit, but it looks like white would just be slightly ahead. I mean, after this queen trade, rook captures. Now white is just ahead a pawn here. But black does have the bishop pair. So I don't know, that's an advantage for black. All right. Sorry about that, going off on that sideline. So I'm going to run through the game from the beginning real quick. So e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to f6. We capture. They play this Stafford Gambit, so we accept, I guess, capturing this knight. They capture. away from the center, but they have an open position for their bishops, and all their pawns are in one island here together on the queen side. So we fortify this pawn and try and hold on to the material. They develop a bishop lined up at our king side. We just develop our bishop so we can castle. They play this h-pawn move, but now we play this move, which is an inaccuracy. The computer wanted instead c3 to help control the center. So they capture here. It says that's a mistake. That queen, let's see, what was better for that? Well, it recommended knight to h7, but now it's saying just jumping our queen up here would have been better. It says this is best, threatening mate here. Because now what would we do? We just go ahead and castle, and then they can play queen to e5, or knight to g4 here. If we capture, it'll break open this h-file, and the queen could jump up here and threaten a mate. So the Stafford Gambit does look dangerous. So in the game, they give up their knight, which was the mistake. We capture, so we're good so far. The queen jumps here, threatening mate. Our best move is to castle, which we found. Then capturing is best for them, but here we make our big mistake, our blunder. So we needed to play queen up here to d3 to attack, protect our e-pawn, and attack the bishop. We could have even played bishop to e1, giving the pawn back, but then exchanging queens. So, or possibly exchanging queens. Black doesn't have to capture this pawn. He could just, I guess, step back with the queen. Well, no, I guess he can't even do that. The queen is limited on its options. All right. Anyway, the blunder, which they didn't take advantage of. Black needs to play rook to d8 here, attacking my queen immediately. And that would be the best move, this rook to d8 move. And here, man, I can't believe it. Here, my best move would have been to capture the queen, which in the game, I probably wouldn't have done that. I probably would have, well, I don't know. Would I have tried king to g2? No. I would have done something to protect my queen, and I would have been in a lot of trouble, and the game would probably end up being lost. So, blunder, capture. They didn't take advantage. Now white has the advantage. Queen to d3 is the best move, which we found. Attacking the queen. Now the best retreat. It said queen to e6, but looks like h4. The computer likes that even better. I guess that keeps an eye on this e-pawn here. All right, so now we play this. Bishop to f4, but it looks like queen to f3 is even better. Queen to f3. So, well, now the computer's saying knight to c3, rook to d1. I guess running your rook over here. That way they can't develop their rook and attack our queen. What did we play? Let's see. We played this bishop move, but queen to f3, the computer likes that best. Which, I don't know, I guess that gets your queen over to help defend, but I was worried about his bishop grabbing this diagonal, and I don't know, we could take a look at it. Queen to f3, well then their best move is to castle or an immediate d6. bishop to d6, grabbing this diagonal. Well, even then, I guess I could fight for that diagonal by going here. All right. Well, in the game, what did we have? Bishop to f4, and my opponent responds by attacking my queen. Now I find queen to f3, moving over to help defend. The pawn starts marching forward, but bishop to d6 immediately looks to be an even better move. But I'm ahead in material, so I would probably just exchange off more material here. So that's probably why he didn't play bishop to d6. So the game continues on with me capturing, which the computer says is best. We're attacking the rook. Now rook to d7, although the computer's saying rook to d4, which is kind of what I thought he would play in the game. Rook to d4, attacking this pawn with the queen. And then what would I do? I guess I would just develop my knight and protect it. All right, so I retreat back here, and the computer likes that move, helping defend my king. The rook jumps in, which is the best move in the position. And I thought he might immediately move here and just check me with his rook. So I jump forward, trying to develop another piece, get my other rook into the game. What would have been best here? Computer's saying knight to c3, but now here it says an immediate king to h1. So the rook attacks my queen. I guess he was trying to trap my queen. If I go here, he could pin my queen to my king. So I only have one good move, queen to h5. Now we have this queen move, which is still excellent, but bishop to d6. Looks like that's recommended, trying to knock out one of my defenders. Oh, let me go back here. All right, bishop to b6, rook to g6 check. So a lot of different options here for black. He moves his queen in, maybe getting ready to push this rook here and threaten a mate in one here, or bring his bishop up here, attacking mine. So I don't know, it's looking pretty crazy here. So now king to h1, king to h1 recommends immediately attacking that queen. But I don't know, the reason I didn't do that, well, let's go look at that. If I would have gone there, it recommends an immediate capture of the bishop. So man, I could have just played that immediately, because I thought, well, if I do that, they'll pin this. But I can just go ahead and capture. And now what? Well, the queen can capture here. Let's take a look at this. All right, the queen can capture there. Rook captures. They would want to take my queen, of course, but now they have doubled pawns and it's our turn, and we could capture with check. They would recapture, and now we're just ahead all kinds of material here. So in the game, we had what? King to h1, bishop captures, bishop to g4, so we played it one move late, but we still get an advantage here because the queen is that queen? trapped. There's still queen to e3. So we still have queen to e3 as being the best move. All right. So in the game, did I think his queen was trapped? I think I did believe it was trapped when it could go to e3 here, because now that pawn is not there that the bishop just captured. But we're attacking, threatening to capture with check this rook up here and check the king. So in the game, we have an attack on our queen, but this just simplifies things down even more. It looks like the best move, oh, and I didn't even look at this. I could have just played queen to e5 check. But then they could block with that. So, I don't know. Maybe this is about the same. We just go ahead and capture here, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, so we capture. The rook captures. Then we capture with check. Let's see. They capture. But now we just capture their other piece here, and we're just ahead a bunch of material. So one thing I want to look at is this move. If they would have played queen to e3, queen to e3, so what do we do then? How do we take advantage of that? Well, if they would have done that, I probably would have just snatched up this this rook with check, eliminating some of the material, which, I don't know, it looks like that would have been the best move. So we just capture with check. The king captures. Then we can bring our other rook into the game, which hasn't been doing anything, with check. So now the king should run to e7. But that allows queen to e5 check. Rook to e6 to block. And now what? Queen to c7. Oh, we kind of jump into the position there. The king does not want to go up here, or we just check him with our rook. So king to f6 is best. But now we have rook to d3. And does that trap the queen? I believe so. But, this would be hard to find when I only had 2 minutes left on the clock here. All right. So bishop to g4. We end up trading off material. And the game could have gone on, something like this. But we just have so much material. We would just start picking everything off. All right. Well, definitely an interesting game. I don't know. I guess my opponent had that. I made one blunder and they didn't capitalize on that. So right here, I should not have picked that bishop off. It looks like instead I should have played queen to d3, threatening the bishop and protecting my pawn in the center. All right. Okay, well, if you have not liked or subscribed, if you haven't liked or subscribed, please do so to help support the channel. Feel free to leave comments, suggestions, or any kind of requests if there are chess topics you would like to see in the future, as I do other instructional videos as well. I have a library of 1,000 chess books, so I can dig into those and find answers to things. So anyway, thank you for watching and have a super chess day.